live and work in New York City. Ever since I was a little girl, I dreamed of coming here. I often thought this was the city I was born to be in. But the truth is, I was born into a brutal war, made an orphan, and taken from my homeland in a controversial rescue that grabbed the world's attention. That was how my life began, in a place far from here. I've returned to where I was born, Ho Chi Minh City, or Saigon as it was known. I'm here on the day of Vietnam's annual celebration, the 30th of April. That's when the Vietnam War ended 37 years ago in 1975. And that's when I left Vietnam for good. I was only a few months old. In the closing chapter of a war that had raged for 20 years, Saigon was about to fall to the communist North Vietnamese army, the NVA. Their enemies, South Vietnam and America, claimed that losing to the NVA would trigger a domino effect and all of Southeast Asia would topple into communism. Saigon was in complete chaos as the communists closed in. This was the chaos I was born into. I was given up to an orphanage for adoption only a few months before Saigon fell on the 30th of April. The war ended that day. I had no mother, no family, and nowhere to call home. Because I'm an adoptee, and because of why and how I was adopted, throughout my whole life I've really struggled with some fundamental issues that revolve around this idea of identity. Who am I? Where do I really belong? And where's the one place in the world that I can call home and really feel like I can be myself? That's been the journey of my life, and it's still going. I was a war orphan. There were thousands of us. The Americans claimed that once the North Vietnamese took Saigon, they would hurt us, maybe even kill us. They insisted we had to be flown out of the country to escape, and there was no time to lose. This evacuation would become known as Operation Babylift, the biggest international removal and adoption of children ever undertaken.
Mr. Ford announced an airlift to the United States from Vietnam.
I have directed that money from a $2 million special foreign aid children's fund be made available. I have also directed American officials in Saigon to act immediately.
Dozens of planes prepared to transport 3,000 kids in April 1975, and I was one of them.
What's the condition of this baby?
They've all got scabies and infections. They all have quite a lot of bronchitis.
This is like this in a lot of orphanages?
Yes.
The Babylift dominated world news, and Western charities running orphanages in Vietnam threw themselves into getting children ready to leave. America and her allies in the war, Canada, Europe and Australia, all agreed to welcome the orphans to their shores. We were flown out of Vietnam and scattered across the globe. Most of us left without any documents to identify who we were, not even our names. Less than 24 hours after President Ford announced Operation Babylift, the first plane left Vietnam, heading for the USA. In a huge panic, the Americans loaded more than 200 orphans onto a Galaxy military aircraft. But within minutes of takeoff, the rear door blew off and it crashed in a rice field just outside Saigon. There was no official list of passengers, but it's estimated 180 children and adults were killed. Well, this is where I've been told there used to be a shrine, a memorial to all the babies, all the children, all the people who died at this site where the Galaxy plane came down, the first one from Operation Babylift. But you know, the history is still here, so are the memories, I guess. People dying, drowning in the paddy fields, plane wreckage just strewn across a few kilometres in this whole area. It looks so nice and peaceful now, it's just hard to believe that this was such a tragic, chaotic scene. I could have been on that Galaxy plane, but instead I was flown out of Vietnam the next day, 5th of April, 1975. This is the earliest photo I have of me as a baby. Someone has written my name, Cam Tho, and my date of birth. I don't know who took this picture, nor whose hand is reaching out to me. And I don't know where it was taken, in Vietnam or in my new home, Australia. I was on the first plane load of orphans to land at Sydney Airport. I was in bad shape. Many of the Operation Babylift children were suffering from malnutrition, pneumonia and dysentery. 6 of the babies on my flight died from their illnesses. I was adopted by Basil and Robin Turner, who had 3 daughters of their own. I became the 4th Turner girl and given a new name, Catherine. I was raised in the countryside. My new family brought me back to health and did what they could to help me adjust. A brown child in white Australia. When I arrived in Australia 37 years ago, I didn't really have a heritage story, a family tree, a way to trace my ancestors. And so my adoptive parents wrote a story for me. They put together this amazing little book that they used to read to me when I was a kid at bedtime. And it's about me, written in 3rd person. I just want to read a little passage from it. Cam Tho, that's me, that's the Vietnamese name I was given when I was born. Cam Tho's first mother could not get enough food. They were very, very hungry. And one day her mother decided that Cam Tho must have more food to live and grow properly. She could not leave herself, but she decided to help Cam Tho find a new mummy and daddy in a happier land where there was plenty of food and no fighting. I just think it's incredible that my parents had the foresight and the creativity to make something like this and to read it to me from such a young age so that subconsciously it was sinking in and it was a way of trying to tell me how I came to be part of the Turner family. But in reality, my past was largely a blank. My birth mother's whereabouts and the full story of how I came to be an orphan unknown. The only person who knew anything about me was the director of my orphanage. Hello, Joan.
Oh, Cath.
How are you? Joan Staples took me in from the clinic where my mother had left me, sick and near death. Joan accompanied me on the flight to Sydney in 1975 and has lived here ever since.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, and you?
Good to see you.
Oh, it's
been
great,
a long
isn't
time,
it?
hasn't it? Oh, it's happy to see you.
The Australian embassy rang and said, "This is your embassy telling you to leave the country." And as we left to go from the embassy on buses to go to the airport, that was hair-raising because we had a police escort going to the airport and people knew that the children were being taken out of the country and they were pushing children through the windows of the bus for us to take their children. And the faces of the people trying to give you the children, they were really desperate.
What was it like then at the airport when you first touched down?
I had to get all the paperwork, of which I've got some of it here, of all the children who were assigned to families in Australia, and your parents were on that list. We ended up with 17.
Oh, that's not many on my flight then. There I am.
There you are. Yeah.
Winty Campbell, that is so cool, and that's my date of birth.
Yes.
I've
So
never
you weren't
seen
with us
that.
very long.
Source of referrals, my mother. Okay. Release given, yes.
Yeah, so the release had been given.
Oh my God, that is so amazing.
And the orphanage that you came from.
Paperwork from my history. And that's my name, Winty Campbell, date of birth, 1910-74. So that was drawn up 4th of April, and I was on the flight the very next day on April 5. That is history right there. That's amazing. My God. I'm number 75/42. Yeah. Holy dolly.
While I was growing up, Joan and my parents tried to get me interested in Vietnamese culture, but I didn't want to know. Their pleasure in my being different was my pain in not being like everyone else. This time, though, I was mesmerised by Joan's stories about Operation Babylift.
She had some things as well which I haven't seen before, some documents and some photographs like this one. The picture shows us right before we got onto that plane. And I think I am one of these babies in the bassinets on the floor, and it's got to be probably the first photograph of me ever as a baby.
There is someone I wish I could share this photograph with. My mother Robin always encouraged me to search for my past, and she would have loved to see this latest piece of the puzzle. Mum died last year. I went back to Australia for her funeral. I haven't seen my dad since then.
Hello, Dad. Hi. How are you?
Good, lovely to have you here. Hey.
Hi.
Well, hi, Cath. Here are a few more that you might be interested in.
Do you remember these ones?
Oh, yes, indeed. When you were very small.
As I trawl through these albums, I'm reminded of good family times, but also how I stand out in every shot. The only kid like me at parties, in school photos. As a child, I was too young to notice, but from the age of 12, I kept diaries that describe growing up in white Australia.
Maybe if I was white, I'd have a boyfriend by now. Sometimes when I look in the mirror, when I'm feeling good, I think, yeah, you don't look half bad, you look okay. And other times I take a peek and feel sick at how ugly I am. This one is about this boy I had a big crush on at school, Josh. A friend of his came up to me and said, "Josh called you a big fat lump of black crap." For a moment I just stood there and said, oh, that's nice. Had he really said something that racist and cruel about me? I felt like crying, but I couldn't. And then later, it's just so unfair. It's as though the world only consists of Australia, and anyone who was not born white is some kind of freak. I look closely at the girls around me and see how pretty they are. God, what I wouldn't give to be white, white, white. I wrote that in big capital letters. These diaries are such a stark reminder of how uncomfortable I was in my own skin and how much self-loathing I had. I hated the brown colour of my skin, my Asian eyes. I was just really unhappy with the way I looked and the fact that I had Asian heritage.
I kept this misery a secret, but I feel ready to share the past with my dad. Nearby his house there's a good place to talk, the beach where we scattered my mum's ashes.
You didn't tell us about some of the things that happened when you were at school, and I've never really known quite why, because I didn't think that you could possibly have thought we would have thought you had done something wrong.
Do you wish that I had told you at the time that I was getting bullied and the racism at school?
Yes, very much so. But I certainly would have done something, because on the one hand I would have been extremely angry that this had ever happened, and on the other I would have been concerned for you and that it stopped.
Well, you know, maybe that's why I didn't tell you and Mum, because I knew that, I was afraid that you would hunt down the kids responsible, demand to speak to their parents. Maybe I didn't want to attract more Basil. More Basil interference.
Yes, well that's quite possible and probably very wise.
Were you and Mum sad to know or to learn that it hasn't been easy for me?
Yes, well of course, because you know, we're very much directly responsible for you coming. And I sort of wonder sometimes whether all of this background hasn't been very helpful to you. Which of course then makes one reflect upon, well, was it a good idea in the first place? Would you have been better off if you had, I don't expect you to answer this question, but would you have been better off if you had in fact stayed? There again, you mightn't have lived. Because I mean, when you went to the baby's home, you were very, very sick.
Even after 37 years, my dad still struggles with the rights and wrongs of me leaving Vietnam as a baby.
Whoa! So it is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. And of course to our mum, who's not here. I know she would love it if she was here. It's exactly the kind of place she would want to be. And we all miss her. But here's a cheers to Mum.
My sisters, Jackie and Nikki, and their families have gathered for a barbecue on Mother's Day. It's the first time we've been together since our mum died.
I was reading through my diaries and going through all this. Dad was saying how he thought, because I was so obsessed with models, that I was a lesbian.
It did cross our minds. It was very soon dispelled, I have to say.
Remember, Nick, I would come up and say, I wish I looked like this blonde model and stuff. And you were really good, you know, you were always like, no, that's boring.
We never saw you any differently, and so I actually didn't think that other people would, and now I realise that you were actually going through a lot of really difficult times, and I wasn't aware of it. I just didn't even think to look out for that.
My sisters always felt I belonged with them. It's not easy for them to hear I had doubts that I belonged anywhere, to anyone.
And do you think that's enough? Do you think if you're adopted and you have a loving family, do you think that makes up for other things that you might have missed out?
Love doesn't replace knowing. Even with the abundance of love and care and support that I had from you guys and all my friends and family, I still have those issues. But you guys always saying, no, you should be so proud to be Vietnamese, your skin's beautiful.
Enough.
But it wasn't. Even from the people who, it wasn't enough to validate, you know, what I felt.
Nothing would be enough, really.
I had asked myself this question 1,000,000 times. Could anything ever fill the void of not knowing where you came from or who made you? Ten years ago, when I was 27, the need for answers led me to Vietnam for the first time.
Here I am in Ho Chi Minh, some very weird, like it's bad enough just culturally different to Australia, but this is, as my friend Marnie said, I left here 27 years ago and now I'm back.
I asked my best friend Marnie to come with me on the search to find my birth mother.
I have some documents in my bag, my birth certificate.
Ngày ít tháng là tẩm lên trên thành phố lúc đó là đang đánh nhau đó.
We should have bought that thing with the photo of me. This is going to be a real needle in the haystack. So, no luck there. We just went to a police station. The cleaner there's lived here for 20 years and says you know someone with the same surname. Lots of women have that name.
Yeah, that's right.
We could be doing this for days. Are you my mother? Show me your date of birth. I couldn't find anyone by the same name. So I reckon for this trip, that's it. I'm pretty bloody fed up with it. I'm over it. I've had everything from, oh, you look Korean, oh, you look Japanese, oh, you look Hawaiian, oh, you look Vietnamese, oh, you look Chinese. I mean, I've had the lot. I'm a multicultural cooking pot, and I don't know what the recipe is. I don't know what was put into me.
Ten years after that trip, I want to share my experiences with other children of Operation Babylift. Mi Hong Lee was adopted in Australia, like me.
Hi! Yeah, hi Mi Hong, how are you? It's nice to meet you. Great to meet you. Welcome. Who's this little one?
In her 30s, she returned to Vietnam and stayed. Today, she runs 3 orphanages in Vung Tau, a boat ride away from Ho Chi Minh City.
So we have like our newborns,
Okay.
And then from newborns we go gradually older and then older here. So we'll go to
Mi Hong's mother is Vietnamese. Her father was an Australian soldier. Towards the end of the war, rumours spread that the communists would target children of mixed race. To protect 5-year-old Mi Hong and her little brother, their mother gave them up for adoption. Mi Hong never felt loved by her Australian parents. They stopped her from talking about her life in Vietnam, but they couldn't stop her from going back to her home country.
When I got there, just like hysteria broke out because my childhood friend was there. And the minute they saw me, they're going, Mi Hong, Mi Hong, Mi Hong. And they're all touching me, and it's like I'd come back from the dead. And these old women from little alleyways were coming out, and they all knew me. And they tell me to sit down, and then the only thing my translator says to me is, your mother's coming. And I thought, coming? I don't even know she's alive, you know, she's coming. And that was the longest 10 minutes of my life. And then my mother was there. It was that quick.
So once you met your mother or your relatives, did you know straight away that you wanted to stay here for good?
I knew that was it, that I was called to stay in Vietnam. Because I didn't have a positive adoption, to me adoption was just like the worst thing. But now that I'm here, I'm with our children. I think that if we can find good families for them, obviously, that's the best thing.
You shed some milk and come and look after you. You're so cute.
We are both Operation Babylift children, but we couldn't be more different. After my first trip to Vietnam, I left angry and disappointed. I didn't want to go back. Mi Hong reconnected immediately with Vietnam and wanted to stay. Maybe because she quickly found her birth family. For those still looking, piecing together the past is emotionally draining and often without reward. But you can get lucky. On this trip to Vietnam, I've discovered a place I've been trying to find for years. Operation Babylift was one of the defining moments of the Vietnam War. Just weeks before the communists took Saigon in April 1975, thousands of orphans were flown out of the country and put up for adoption. I was one of them. Most of us left with few, if any, clues about our heritage. I've been searching for years for my own past, and I've just discovered an important piece of the puzzle. I'm looking at the building where I was right before I became part of Operation Babylift. That used to be the orphanage where I was. Now, today, it's a community health centre. There's not many signs of what it used to be. But it's incredible to think that I was there 37 years ago as an orphan. And just as remarkable is just around the corner in this same neighbourhood is the US Embassy. It's there today, it was there back in 1975, and that is where Operation Babylift was first concocted. So while I was inside there as an orphan, the Americans were dreaming up a way to get more than 3,000 children out of Vietnam. The Americans justified the evacuation by insisting the orphans would be harmed by the communists if they stayed. So it followed that me and 3,000 other orphans should be grateful to the architects of Operation Babylift. I wanted to meet one of them to better understand why I had to leave Vietnam. Most of those who devised Operation Babylift have passed away. But a first-hand witness to the inception and execution of the Babylift is living in California. In 1975, Frank Snepp was the CIA's head of intelligence analysis, based at the American Embassy in Saigon. What he told me was shocking. We orphans hadn't been in danger from the communists. That was a lie to persuade American politicians to spend more money on the war and South Vietnam would be saved. It didn't work, but in front of the world's cameras, President Ford tried to spin Operation Babylift as a victory in the face of inevitable defeat.
The orphans weren't in danger. There were lots of Vietnamese who were, people who had worked for us, and we were getting signals out of the Communist Command through our secret agents and other sources that the Communists were considering seriously killing the collaborators who had worked with the Americans. Once we were able, under cover of a baby lift or several baby lifts, to begin moving Americans out of the country and Vietnamese, then it was unstoppable. So yes, you were our fig leaf. You were a way of making the world think, number one, Saigon was worth saving because of all these beautiful little children like yourself. Your fate would be in communist hands if you were left there. There was a term we used for people like you, children of the dust. Those were the orphans of war. And they were the least among us, and nobody cared about them, really.
It's really hard. I'm listening to you, I'm hearing the words, I'm trying to put them in context, but to be honest, makes me I don't know whether to be angry or upset about what you're telling me. I don't know what to do with it. What am I supposed to think?
Let's face it, the Vietnamese were always pawns in somebody's game throughout the war. The Americans were there not for the Vietnamese, they were there to play out some notion of geopolitical balance of power politics. So it was nothing new that we were using Vietnamese, young and old, one way or another, to accomplish hidden purposes. But to use children, frankly, it was the only way.
I was so upset by Frank's words that I had to stop the interview. He completely shattered my belief that Operation Babylift was for my own good.
I haven't really, I accepted what was told to me. I have a letter. It says my mother was poor, it says that I was sick, that it was a humanitarian mission. My Australian parents told me from day one, because they believed, because World Vision had told them it was a humanitarian mission.
You didn't know you were a pawn, obviously.
I had no idea.
They didn't know.
And even though I've heard it out here, I've never heard it in detail, not from someone who was there, for God's sake.
If you don't go back and confront the past, then your life is incomplete. And now you've made your life much more complete than it could ever have been before you return to this part of your past that you didn't know. And now you know what those ghosts look like. And it's got to be frightening.
Not just frightening. For the Babylift generation still searching for their birth families, to discover that their removal from Vietnam was based on a lie is nothing short of a tragedy. How are you both feeling about getting on the plane?
Very, very excited. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time, and really good that it's finally come to pass, and we're really looking forward to it.
What about you, Dad?
Well, the same. I suppose it's extra special because we've been wanting to go for so long.
In 2003, a year after my first visit to Vietnam, I went back, this time with my Australian parents. We went for a holiday so I could show Mum and Dad the Vietnam that I'd seen. I didn't really want to look for my Vietnamese mother this time. I think I was quite scarred by it the first time, and I wanted to just let that rest. So when we got here though, I had another Vietnamese friend, someone who was translating for us, and she knew my story, and she started having a look at my paperwork and my documents that I had and the photos, and she just started putting little pieces together and asking people questions that we hadn't really asked before. And oi, yum lai, gammon. And it all led us to this police station in Ho Chi Minh City, and that's when it really turned into much more than a holiday. I'm waiting for what hopefully will be my mother to walk in that door. She was supposed to be here about half an hour ago, so the suspension's quite building. I feel sick in the stomach. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what she's going to look like. I hope it's her. It sounds like it would be. But it's like I've been waiting 30 years for this moment.
That came out here, and this one had kind of old, and she had plastic surgery on that.
In this one moment came the answer to the biggest question of my life. And with it came 1,000 new questions. I discovered I have a Vietnamese family. 2 half-brothers, some nephews, and a grandmother. And my Australian parents were just as excited as I was to find them. They had always hoped this would happen. My birth mother Na told me that my father was an officer in the South Vietnamese Army. He was married when they met, and I'm the result of their affair. He died after the war. My reunion with my mother was nothing short of a miracle. We had both believed the other was dead. Now, 30 years after we were separated, we were very much alive and together.
Hi! How are you? Good to see you! How are you? You good, Claire? Good to see you. Hi, Dylan. Hi! Chào bà! Khỏe không?
Con khỏe không?
Good, good to see you. Good?
Good.
Yeah?
Oh, it's so good to see. This is my mum's husband, and you can tell, you're just looking at him, he's like the kindest man in the world. He looks after my mum really well. And that's my older brother. He's come to meet us as well. They're going to take us to my Vietnamese mother's apartment house from here because I have no idea how to get around the city. It's been 5 years since I last saw Na and the rest of my Vietnamese family. We keep in touch, but it isn't easy. They don't speak English, and I can't speak Vietnamese.
There she is.
Na and I don't share the conventional bond of a mother and daughter.
Chào mẹ, khỏe không?
But we love each other.
Look at your hair, đẹp quá. You coloured it as well. Turn around. Let me see. Turn around. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, look. Đẹp quá.
Đẹp quá, đẹp quá.
Wow. Show us how. Let's see inside. Oh my God, it's changed.
Hey, how are you? Khỏe không?
Oh, it's good to see you. You're so big now.
Khỏe không? You good? Yeah?
Excellent. I like your new house. What's this?
Của Bộ trưởng
Certification of contribution in education.
So what you're saying is that everybody in the country thinks you're a great teacher. Is that what you're saying?
Tức là ý mẹ nói là ai ở trong nước này cũng nghĩ là mẹ là giáo viên giỏi đúng không?
That's pretty cool. Nice one.
My mother is a retired teacher, her husband a businessman who is devoted to her. They have clearly prospered since we first met. Not many in Vietnam can afford a house like this. Na looks great, and I'm relieved to see she's so well looked after.
Là người mẹ mà muốn con có một cái gia đình để khi mẹ già rồi đó, mẹ mất đi rồi đó, thì mẹ cũng thấy được con đã có gia đình.
But what happens if I don't have babies? Will you think that I'm not happy?
Sao? Mình không có con, mình ăn được nhiều, mình không phải lo cho con mình. Mình được đi đó, mình không phải vướng bận.
So I can live the selfish life. I can eat all the food I want, drink as much as I like, go travelling. What's not to like? And it just keeps on. Oh my God! And you can go up to the roof. That's great. Oh, this is beautiful. You must get it. Do you get a nice breeze here? Like a nice, is it fresh air?
It only takes a few minutes before I feel close to my mother again. But our conversation is dominated by how we were separated, from the clinic where she left me and my transfer to the orphanage she never knew about.
Khi mà mẹ gửi con vào cái bệnh viện thì con thì bị bệnh tật yếu, mẹ thì cũng không hơn gì. Có gọi mẹ đó thì mẹ sợ mẹ không có đủ khả năng kinh tế để cho lo con về cái mai sau, cho nên mẹ có nói bệnh viện là nếu như mà con khỏe mạnh mà có một người nào mà họ có điều kiện mà về tiền bạc, họ xin con làm con nuôi thì mẹ đồng ý ký tên. Khi đó thì lúc đó mà mẹ đưa con vào bệnh viện đó ba không biết, tại vì mẹ không muốn cắt đứt cái liên lạc. 1 tháng 5 thì đất nước giải phóng 1 tháng 5 á, thì mẹ đầu tiên là mẹ quay cái chỗ nơi mẹ gửi cho con đó, thì cái nơi đó nó không còn là bệnh viện nữa mà nó là một cái đống hoang tàn đổ nát, thì trong lòng mẹ nghĩ là con đã chết rồi.
So you thought I was dead. What did you do after that? Did you come home? What did you do?
Thì mẹ về mẹ buồn, và theo phong tục của người Việt Nam đó thì mẹ lấy cái ngày 30 tháng 4 là coi như là cái ngày giỗ của con. Khi con đó đã lớn lên, con là cô bé đẹp nè, học giỏi nè, thành đạt, thì mẹ mừng lắm, mẹ mừng vô cùng mà không nói được với ai, mừng lắm. Mẹ mừng bà mất, nghĩ là con còn sống, mẹ mừng lắm. Mẹ mãn nguyện rồi, mà mẹ nghĩ là
I'm incredibly lucky to have found my birth mother. That's rare among Vietnamese orphans. There are women who have spent the last 37 years searching for the babies they lost. Na thinks our story can give them hope. I'm not so sure, but I've arranged to meet one of the mothers of Operation Babylift.
Ciao, Deb. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
When she was 20, Deb T believed the rumours that her child would be harmed. The father of her 3-year-old daughter, Phung Mai, was an American soldier.
This is in 1 month when she was born, you know, a month.
Little baby. Oh.
And this is when I work in Long Binh Post, you know, telephone up exchange.
Telephone exchange. Look at you. I bet you had a lot of men asking you out on dates, huh?
I think so.
Yes, I'm not surprised. Very nice. Wow. See this photograph? This is when Deb's baby was about 3 years old. She's written a message on the back. It says, "Baby, I love you, but I've got to let you go for you to save your life. For you to get out of this terrible country so your life can be better."
In late April 1975, just as the last of the Operation Babylift planes were leaving for America, Deb made the agonising decision to give Phung Mai up for adoption. But she returned to the orphanage to see her one last time.
Đi đừng có tới nữa. Nếu mà tới nữa thì con bé nó khóc. Cô mới đành cô đứng dậy cô đi về, nhưng mà cô không dám đi ra cổng, cô chỉ đi ra phía sau. Cô nói thôi giờ để mẹ đi ra sau, mẹ đi rửa mặt. Thì con bé nó làm như nó có linh tính, nó bảo chứ mẹ đi lẹ lẹ đi nghe không. Thì cô đi đằng sau, cô mới lòn ra chỗ trước này cô đi ra. Thì mới vừa ra tới cổng là nó la lên, nó bảo là mẹ đừng bỏ con. Mẹ đừng bỏ con này kia. Nó thì một lần nữa là cô khóc tự đó về nhà. Đến khi cô về đây, ba cô nghe được, ba cô giận cô một tháng trời luôn. Vậy như là sao cho cháu đi. Mà ngày nào cô cũng khóc. Rất là hối tiếc, rất là có lỗi. Tại vì mình nghĩ là cái đứa con mình mong muốn mình, nhưng mà cô chỉ sợ là nó không hiểu rồi nó sẽ hận mình, phải không?
My mother was also very afraid that I would be angry, that I would hate her for giving me up. But I understand. And maybe your daughter will as well. Because war is awful. And you did what you thought was right.
Cô sợ là sợ như vậy. Là mình cho tới ngày chết mình cũng không biết, không thấy là con mình.
The communists never came for Deb T. They never tracked down mixed-race children, and they never harmed the orphans of Vietnam. I just find it so incredible that we're all united by this one event. From the moment a mother decides to let go of her child and give her up to get her out of Vietnam, that plane takes off carrying all those babies and children, and then we all just become dust in the wind. We all create 3,000 new lives and new stories. I really hope Deb finds some kind of peace within herself. I would love it if she found her daughter or her daughter found her, but I know that's slim chances in a fairy tale. It's just mind-boggling that the legacy of Operation Babylift just goes on and on and on. I've come back to Vietnam a few times to see if it could feel like home, but it doesn't, and I know I don't belong here. It makes me feel guilty, as if I'm a bad daughter to Na. I want to see her before I leave Vietnam and tell her how I feel.
You know her? Friend? Friend? Yeah, bạn con mẹ.
Đi coi phim mấy ngày đó hả? Đẹp hả?
Bạn của mẹ.
Chào bà, bạn của mẹ.
Chào bà. Khỏe không?
Khỏe không? Chưa, nó chưa nói tiếng Việt.
I guess I just wanted to tell you that, and sometimes this might be our relationship, which is every now and then I can come and see you for a short time, and then I have to go home and have the rest of my life. Are you okay with that?
Là thời gian đó là nhiều lắm và không nghỉ ngơi được, thì mẹ chỉ mong là 1 tháng hoặc 2 tháng con mail cho mẹ là con viết ngắn gọn là con vẫn khỏe.
Even though I don't come here very often and it's hard for us to communicate, I don't want you to think that that means that I'm not thinking about you. I do think about you all the time, and I want you to know that you're in my heart and you're a part of my life.
Con cứ an tâm, mặc dầu cái chuyện mà về thời gian nhiều hay ngắn nó không quan trọng, mà tình cảm trong trái tim, trong lòng mẹ và con là một.
How cool is my mother? She's shown me that we can belong to one another even if I feel I don't belong here. That it's okay that the country that is her home can never be mine. For the first time in my life, I'm leaving Vietnam feeling good.
Dầu cầu Giang Đông Đinh, cầu tre lắc lẻo gặp ghình, khó đi chứ khó đi, mẹ dắt con đi trường học.
Over the years, I've managed to piece together the story of my life. But the more I've discovered, the less sure I've been about where I belong. Caught between Australia and Vietnam. 2 cultures, 2 countries. But now I've found something in New York City. I don't stand out here because of how I look or because of my past. Everyone around me is different from me and from each other. In this city that accepts everyone, I found peace and a home.